Hi, I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin. It's time for another edition of my college football free picks for week 8. And these three games that I'm going to cover today all go on Saturday the 19th. Keep in mind, folks, I'm currently recording on Wednesday evening the 16th. So these lines are subject to change depending on when you view the video. And as always, my picks will always be graded on the picks I release at the time of the recording. And that's been a constant. It's worked for me and it's worked against me this year, as many of you subscribers have witnessed already. Speaking of subscribers, if you haven't subscribed already to this channel, it's absolutely free. You just hit the subscribe button below. It's what keeps these videos alive. There's no hidden agenda. There's no ulterior motive. It's just supporting these videos that what keeps it going. And folks, I am 60 and 40, exactly 60% over my last 37 free pick videos on this channel. So congratulations to those of you who have subscribed. I think we're up to somewhere near 4,500 subscribers. Last week, over 11,000 views on the NFL video and close to 6,000 on the college football video. Let's get right to the games on Saturday the 19th, starting with an SEC matchup between the Florida Gators at the South Carolina Gamecocks. Opening kickoff is slated for 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Florida, at the time of this recording, is a 5.5-point road favorite in this contest. The Gators are coming off their first loss of the season as they went into LSU last week with a perfect 6-0 record and a top 10 ranking, and they walked away having lost that game 42-28 and failed to cover as a 13-point underdog. As a matter of fact, Florida had a 28-21 second half lead in that game, and they allowed LSU to score 21 unanswered points to end the game. So certainly doesn't bode well for momentum coming into this week with Florida. And that's a Florida Gators defense that was absolutely stout for the first half of the season. And a lot of the experts who liked Florida last week, plus the points at LSU, were banking on that defense to be their calling card. And LSU, explosive offense, racked up 511 yards against that Florida defense. South Carolina, meanwhile, they began the season 1-3, and they've bounced back to win their last two, defeating Kentucky 2 weeks ago at home 24-7, and then last week they pulled off an absolute shocker at then number 3 ranked Georgia, knocking off the Bulldogs on their home field as a 20.5-point road underdog by a score of 20-17. Certainly a lot of momentum to be carried over for South Carolina, and like I alluded to before, I'm not sure how Florida's going to react going into this game. I could tell you this: Florida is coming off back-to-back games against nationally ranked number 11 Auburn, and then last week against then number 3 ranked or number 2 ranked LSU. And up next is their big rivalry game against number 11 Georgia in Jacksonville, and what's deemed to be and has been often lovingly called the world's largest cocktail party. So in between all that, they're taking on a South Carolina team that's 3-3. And another concerning factor, if I'm a Florida Gators fan, Florida has turned the ball over 14 times in the first 7 games. And boy, oh boy, good thing their defense up to last week has been able to overcome those turnovers. However, they're going to be facing a South Carolina team that during this modest 2-game win streak they come into this game with have been a +5 in those 2 wins when it comes to turnover differential. I'll take the home underdog, South Carolina Gamecocks, +5.5 against Florida. Next game, Big 12 matchup, TCU at Kansas State, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. The current line at the time of this recording, TCU 2.5-point road favorite. Kansas State started the year 3-0, playing a very soft schedule. I guess Mississippi State on the road. You thought that was a big win, but then we've seen Mississippi State, what they're made of the last 2 weeks, and all of a sudden that win doesn't look very big. And Kansas State has really laid an egg over their last 2 games, losing at Oklahoma State 26-13, and then losing to Baylor at home 31-12. TCU ran into an absolute buzzsaw 2 weeks ago in their previous game against Iowa State on the road. They lost to the Cyclones 49-24 in that contest. Iowa State is a vastly underrated team. That's a team that's currently 4-2, and their two losses came against nationally ranked opponents and came by a combined 3 points. Having said all that, TCU coming off a bye week, sure to come in with a sour taste in their mouth. Plenty of time to prepare. Their only other loss this season came against number 19 SMU, who is currently 6-0, and that loss was by a narrow 41-38 margin. I like TCU in this matchup, laid at 2.5 at Kansas State. Finally, Big Ten matchup Saturday evening in Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, as Michigan will go to Penn State, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Right now, at the time of this recording, Penn State is an 8.5-point home favorite. Michigan's coming off a 42-25 win last week against Illinois. However, a red flag went up for me when watching that game. Michigan jumped out to a 28-0 lead in that game and then allowed Illinois to score 25 unanswered points to close to within 28-25 before they scored two late touchdowns to pull away. Not exactly an impressive performance against a Big Ten cellar dweller in Illinois, and I don't know how Lovie Smith continues to keep his job. I got to think the Illinois faithful have had enough over there in Champaign. And in any event, despite them 42 points Michigan scored, I'm still underwhelmed by their offense. And it showed in a couple other games against ranked opponents when they were beaten by Wisconsin 35-14. And they also came away with a 10-3 win at Iowa, in which the Iowa defense absolutely stymied the Michigan offense. And this is a Penn State team that comes in with a 6-0 record, continues to get better every week. An impressive 17-12 road win at Iowa last week. Their last three games, all wins over conference opponents. And what a defense this Penn State Nittany Lions have. In their 6 wins this year, they've allowed 13 points or fewer on each occasion. And their 3 wins against conference opponents this year, they're allowing a little over 6 points per game and 196 yards per contest. That's shutting the opposition down big time. And against those Big Ten opponents, they're also allowing just 39 yards per game rushing and an average of 1.2 yards per rushing attempt. That is absolutely phenomenal, and that's getting it done on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to go here with the Penn State Nittany Lions at home to win big, -8.5 over Michigan. Repeating again, South Carolina +5.5. at home against Florida, TCU -2.5 at Kansas State, and Penn State -8.5 at home over the Michigan Wolverines. Those are your picks for Saturday, October 9th, Week 8 college football season. Be sure to stay tuned. Tomorrow I'll have my NFL free pick videos, 2-1 in the NFL last week. Again, folks, 60-40 over the last 37 videos on this channel. Click that subscribe button below, become a subscriber, get notified immediately upon me publishing any of these free pick videos. Be sure to visit my website. That's rbwins.com. You'll find my paid selections there. Those are the games I post late in the week to go to all of my paid subscribers. It's rbwins.com, where you pay a little to make a lot. Until the next time, good luck with all your picks.